Okay, so if you're a finance executive looking at global markets today, you might think our biggest challenge is, just building more infrastructure, maybe adding more physical brick and mortar bank branches in emerging economies. But actually, the reality is far more urgent than that. We are facing a fundamentally broken system. We aren't just talking about a lack of local banks. We are talking about a multi-trillion-dollar shortfall in global liquidity. And this massive gap is being actively caused by outdated SWIFT messaging, totally fragmented local ledgers, and capital that's just trapped. It's really not a matter of building more buildings. It's about fixing the underlying tracks that money actually moves on. Because right now, the current architecture is literally penalizing global economic growth. Welcome to this explainer. Let's dive right in.
To really get a sense of this, consider the sheer contrast in our current market infrastructure. Picture a trader sitting in New York. They flick through a super sleek equity app, and boom, they settle millions of dollars in a matter of seconds with virtually zero friction. Now, picture a brilliant founder in Lagos, Nigeria. They are looking at the exact same smartphone, holding the exact same entrepreneurial ambition, but they're staring at a loan rejected notification for a mere $50,000. They have the exact same technology in their hands, but they are operating across an absolute infrastructural chasm. It's a completely different, severely restricted access point to capital, and it's based entirely on their geographic infrastructure.
The paradigm shift we really need to grasp is captured perfectly in this one quote. Global finance doesn't have an infrastructure problem, it has a rail problem. For those of you managing global liquidity, this distinction is absolutely critical. We already have the smartphones, right? We have the internet connectivity and the raw technological infrastructure. But the invisible tracks running beneath it all, they are failing us. We are currently relying on batch processing systems built all the way back in the 1970s, and we're trying to force them to serve a 24/7 hyper-connected digital economy. The real bottleneck here is the rail system itself.
All right, Section 1, the capital formation gap.
1 billion. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is the staggering scale of unbanked adults globally today. But look, for market makers, infrastructure builders, and finance executives, this isn't just some abstract social issue. This is an astronomical amount of trapped liquidity and lost economic potential. More specifically, this represents what we call the missing middle in enterprise financing. We're talking about mid-cap enterprises in emerging regions. They are too large for microfinance, but they're considered too small or too geographically isolated to be underwritten by big, bulge-bracket investment banks. That 1 billion? It basically represents a total failure of our current capital formation mechanisms.
So, why is this happening? Well, the core reason for this trapped potential is purely structural. Global capital markets are hardwired for a hub-and-spoke model. They were painstakingly built for legacy participants. Money center banks, prime brokerages, traditional exchanges, and these are heavily clustered in just a few very rich zip codes. If you aren't operating within the regulatory and geographic bubbles of those major institutional hubs, the legacy infrastructure simply cannot effectively underwrite you. The system is fundamentally designed to serve itself, which makes it totally incompatible with distributed frontier growth.
Moving on to Section 2, Wall Street versus frontier markets.
Inside the G7, money moves on what is essentially an ultra-fast digital autobahn. Institutional capital flows effortlessly between approved nodes. But the absolute second that same capital tries to cross the border into an emerging economy, bam, it hits an impenetrable wall. This wall is constructed out of strict capital controls, highly fragmented foreign exchange markets, and just exorbitant compliance costs tied to cross-border underwriting. Global capital is essentially forced by its own structural inefficiency to stay safely tucked within the borders of the G7.
Let's actually pop the hood and break down exactly what that wall consists of technically. First up, you have correspondent banks. These institutions rely on Nostro and Vostro accounts, which inherently require pre-funded, trapped liquidity just to function across borders. Second, the capital moves to clearinghouses, where T+2 settlement cycles introduce massive, unnecessary counterparty risk into every single transaction. And finally, there is this massive web of legacy middlemen. Local custodians, FX brokers, compliance checkpoints, they are all extracting basis points at every single hop. By the time capital forces its way through this outdated messaging maze, the cost of capital is so absurdly high that small to mid-cap formation for frontier entrepreneurs becomes mathematically impossible. It's death by 1,000 cuts, and it's an unacceptable drag on yield.
And this inefficiency creates a glaring cash flow proof gap. Emerging markets are producing world-class talent and incredibly scalable ideas, but the rails just completely ignore them. Imagine a highly profitable mid-cap agricultural supplier over in Nairobi trying to secure a $2 million letter of credit. They have absolutely no reliable way to mathematically prove their real-time cash flows to a New York liquidity provider, Why? Because the local legacy ledgers simply do not communicate with global systems in real time. Frontier entrepreneurs are totally isolated from global liquidity because the tracks literally do not connect.
Which brings us to Section 3, bypassing legacy middlemen.
The solution to this systemic friction requires an entirely new architecture. We don't need more banks, we need to bypass them. By deploying assets on open-source DLT, or distributed ledger technology, we achieve incredible composability. We are basically converting static, localized database rows into programmable Lego blocks. We're talking equities, tokenized real-world assets, and stablecoins. What this creates is the capability for atomic settlement. That means clearing, settling, and custody all happen simultaneously within a single transaction. It instantly renders that entire correspondent banking gauntlet, with all its pre-funded liquidity traps and settlement delays, completely obsolete.
Let's look closer at this in Section 4, Programmable Infrastructure Solutions. When we talk about equities on crypto rails, we are talking about the definitive infrastructural bypass. We're fixing the capital formation gap by utilizing smart contracts that automate compliance and escrow directly on-chain. This allows a decentralized global liquidity pool to safely underwrite that founder in Lagos without needing a local branch of Chase or Citibank to verify the transaction. We are giving frontier builders the exact same programmable, instant access to capital that a Wall Street trader has enjoyed for decades. We are entirely removing the geographic barrier to entry.
The paradigm shift here is just night and day. The old world meant being entirely excluded from legacy financial rails. It meant being struck behind physical KYC paper forms, restricted by correspondent banking walls, and completely locked out of basic credit. The new paradigm? It means instant empowerment. It means being plugged directly into global capital, where value moves peer-to-peer on open networks. It is the definitive journey from being ignored by a centralized legacy system to being instantly capitalized by open-source, borderless infrastructure.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a bit of a strategic reality check. Ignoring these programmable rails isn't just a missed opportunity in emerging markets anymore. It is a critical vulnerability for your business as the entire architecture of global capital formation gets rebuilt from the ground up. If open-source programmable rails can instantly connect frontier talent directly with global liquidity, achieving atomic settlement and totally bypassing traditional friction, we really have to ask, are legacy banks obsolete? Think about what this transition means for the future of your infrastructure. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you in the next one.